So I lost 130 pounds and I gained it all back. Well, not really, but as you guys can tell, your boy's looking a little bit chubbier than he was in his other videos, and that's because I'm coming off an 8-month bulk where I put on roughly 20 pounds, which was the goal. But now we are back on track, we are back on the cut, and good news is I'm a weight loss coach and I know exactly how to lose weight. And in this video, I'm going to be breaking down how I'm going to be training, what type of food I'm going to be eating, and how much food I'm going to be eating, and then just some little tips and tricks to help with weight loss. So getting into it, the first thing is my actual training. I'll be working out 5 days a week, hitting all my muscle groups twice a week. It goes legs, push, pull, rest, legs, shoulders, triceps, and then the last day is chest, back, and biceps, which is honestly my favorite day. Now, before I get into it, I want to talk about my calories and what I will be doing to lose the weight. So roughly I'm about 182, 181, 180 pounds, give or take, because I've been in the deficit for a little bit. But right now, my calorie goal is 170 grams of protein, 230 grams of carbs, and 45 grams of fat. And these are on 5 days of the week that I am training. So I'm having higher days of carbohydrates on the days that I'm actually working out. Now, on the days that I do not work out, I aim for a little bit more protein, 180 grams of protein, to make sure that I'm feeling satiated, make sure I'm feeling full during the deficit, because I will get hungry, and that's what happens when you are in a deficit. It's natural. But my carbohydrate intake is cut down slightly. So on the days I don't work out, I aim from anywhere from 200 grams of carbs to 180 grams of carbs. So roughly 30 to 50 grams of carbs less than my actual training days, and my fat intake will be about 45 grams, keeping about the same. That covers the calories. And then for my actual activity levels, right, outside of my workouts, my routine will be cardio every single day. And I'm talking zone 2. Right now, I'm doing the exercise bike, the Rogue Assault bike. That thing kicks my ass. If you guys ever use that, you guys know how much fun that thing is. But I really enjoy it. I find, aside from the cardio purposes, it's honestly a great warm-up. But right now, the routine follows 40 minutes of cardio on the days that I do work out, and then 50 minutes of cardio on the days that I do not, just giving myself a little bit more time to do the cardio. And then on the days I'm also not working out, I'm doing an ab routine. So this is followed by like some crunches and planks on the days I don't work out, getting a quick ab pump for the actual workouts. Now, the way I'll actually be consuming my food is to carb time, or timing my carbs, however you guys want to call it. Pretty much, I'm going to be eating quick digesting carbohydrates before my training. I'm talking rice cakes, I'm talking honey, I'm talking bananas, cereal, anything that floats your boat. I personally really like cereal right now, but I always switch it up to like honey and bananas. Pretty much, I'm eating some quick digesting carbs, and this is the point of having higher carb days during days you're working out, because it's going to make your workout that much more effective. And you don't have to be crazy with it. If you're in a really sharp deficit already, or if you're just trying to lose weight and you find yourself tired, just throw in a little bit of carbohydrates beforehand. Throw in a little bit during your workout, and even like 10 grams of carbs, it will go a long way, especially if you've been in the deficit for a while. It will make a big difference on your training. But that is typically how my carb timing will go. During the middle of the workouts, right now, I'm not really having any sort of carbs. Maybe as the deficit continues, that is something I'll pay attention to if I do need that boost. But obviously, typical post-workout meal. But the main priority here is having quick digesting carbs before my actual training days, so I can push myself. And then those carbs that I would be allotting to like my training days, on the days I don't work out, I just simply don't have those carbs, and I pretty much eat the same meals. So balanced portions of lean protein, balanced portions of fruits and vegetables, right? Right now I'm really liking berries because they're high in fiber. They'll keep you full. And then also they taste great. Who doesn't like berries? I'm a big fan of them. But yeah, that's kind of like the macronutrient split of where I'm going at currently. And this will put me at roughly a 700 calorie deficit, give or take. Before I started the cut, I knew what my maintenance number was. So as the bulk, I knew my maintenance number was roughly 27 to 2,900 calories. So being at 2,000 calories right now, plus the cardio, it should put me about a pound and a half loss per week, which is something I want to aim for. A lot of people lose weight. They just want to see the number on the scale disappear. And that's not really sustainable. That's not really a good way to do it, especially if you're trying to put on muscle mass in the meantime. So a general rule of thumb of how quick you can lose the weight is about 1% loss of your body weight per week. So in my case, I'm 180 pounds, give or take. I should not be losing more than 1.8 pounds per week. So on my end, I'm aiming for about 1.5. I could take it a little slower. I could take it a little longer, but it will come down to some external events that you guys probably have in your lives as well, which I'll talk about here in a minute, just to help make sure I'm on track for the weight loss. So these external events are things like the Super Bowl, which is coming up. It's February 1st today, right? It's about a week out. Super Bowl party, I'll be attending that. I have my birthday coming up. I have some vacation plans coming up, and I plan to be in this calorie deficit from anywhere from 4 to 6 months. You know, you're asking yourself is like, how do I lose weight if I have vacation, if I have holidays, all that sort of thing. The big thing here is try to time maintenance calories or diet breaks around these events, right? So typically after like 3 months of being in calorie deficit, take a week where you're at maintenance. And this week of maintenance is when you would want to time it with a holiday, with a birthday, with an event, with an outing, or something like that. And it doesn't really have to be a maintenance. It could just be a slight increase in calories. It can be a slight increase on a couple days, something to give your body a little bit of a break where you kind of come down in training intensity, come down with, pushing yourself like Rocky Balboa every single workout, and just enjoying yourself a little bit more with your food. Maybe you want to try a restaurant. Maybe you want to go with your girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever it is, right? At the end of the day, you want to make sure the weight loss is sustainable. You're enjoying the process, because long-term adherence is what's going to take you to your weight loss goals. Because I need to lose about 20 pounds, give or take, right? Now, it may take a week longer than I would like. It may take a week shorter. All in all, as long as you're following that simple number of roughly a 500 calorie deficit per day and continually to put that in every single day, meaning like you're stacking these days of a 500 calorie deficit, that is the optimal rate to lose weight. You can still enjoy yourself. You can still eat these different foods that you like. You can go to Burger King, get a Whopper, you know what I mean? Now, not all the time to get that stuff, but you can still enjoy yourself if you're in a smaller calorie deficit. And the key here is, if you're in a big calorie deficit, okay, yeah, you're going to lose weight. Anybody's going to lose weight if they eat less food, but your training performance is going to come down. Your recovery is going to come down. Your mood's going to come down, and you're not going to be a happy camper because you're not eating foods you like. So the thing is, if you're trying to make it sustainable, if you're trying to make a real change, you have to do it the right way by actually losing the weight slowly and properly. Right? Don't just go out crash dieting, because that's how a lot of people try to lose weight and it never works. Okay, now getting back to what my actual training goes into. So day one is my leg day, and I start out my leg day after I do my cardio. Typically, I'll break up my cardio amount, or I'll just do the straight 40 minutes, as that's what I have slotted in right now. But right now, my leg day is as follows: barbell Romanian deadlift, really focusing on the negative, slow. I'm talking like 4 seconds on the way down, really getting a good stretch, really getting a lot of blood into my legs before my next movement, which is barbell back squats. This is typically my Romanian deadlift is like 3 sets, 8 to 12 reps. And then I go into barbell back squats, where again, I'm focusing on the negative, taking a quick pause at the bottom. And I'm using about 225 pounds here, which is relatively light for someone with my background who squatted 600 pounds before. But anyways, I digress. That was a different point in my life, squatting 600 pounds. But after I finish those barbell back squats, about 3 sets, 8 to 12 reps, give or take, then I move immediately into barbell deficit split squats. This is where my front foot is elevated, increase the range of motion, increase muscle stimulation, and I find I get a really good pump. And I take short rest, and at the end of it, this is my 4th leg movement, which is just goblet squats. And I do about 15 reps, 3 sets, and these are like burnout sets where I'm doing a bit of a quicker pace. And then on the actual last set, I make sure I do like a full burnout. So I go to complete failure. If it's past 15 reps, that's all good. And this leg day on my day one is quick, it's fast, it's sweaty, it's hot, it's uncomfortable. But I'm telling you, having workouts that are like that, where you're on a time crunch and the blood's flowing and the juices are flowing, it's one of the best feelings after you're done, because you know you put in the work and you crunched a solid leg day. So the next day here is my push day, and this is really simple. It's incline dumbbell bench press, 4-second negatives on the way down, and then I immediately move into dips. And then after my dips, I go into flies. And typically the sets and rep schemes for these 3 exercises are anywhere from 3 sets to 4 sets and 8 to 12 reps, depending on what the recovery is like that day. Ultimately, each week, I'm going to be trying to progressively overload. So I'm going to try to increase the weight. If I can't increase the weight, I'm going to slow down the tempo. If I can't slow down the tempo, I'm going to try to increase the reps. If I can't increase the reps, I'm going to try to pause at the bottom, or I'm going to try to do partials at the top. I'm going to try to get better at these movements somehow every single week. And if all those things fail, I'll start supersetting my exercises, so I'm pushing myself each week. And these are just like little tips and tricks you can do during your exercise routine to make sure that you're just pushing that needle forward and you're getting the best possible results. So my push day, those 3 main movements, chest flies, incline bench, and dumbbell, are like the foundations. And then I just go into my lateral raises, right? 3 sets, 8 to 12 reps, pretty boring stuff. Sometimes I'll do single arm with cable, but then I immediately go into my tricep movements. And I do 2 tricep movements, which I think are foundational to every type of push day or tricep day that you're doing, is 1 overhead and then 1 type of tricep movement that whatever you like. What I'm trying to say here is make sure that you are doing overhead. If you are not doing overhead, you're really neglecting the long head part of your tricep. A lot of people miss it. And the long head part of the tricep is the biggest head or the biggest part of your tricep. So really give your tricep that full look and make your arms look a lot bigger. And who doesn't want bigger arms? I love bigger arms. So overhead tricep, I usually do it with a rope, 3 sets, 8 to 12 reps, give or take, really focusing on the stretch, really focusing on the squeeze at the top and taking it to failure. So after I do that, then I will go into like a cable straight bar tricep extension. This is where I'll do more of true failures on each set. So I'll go to like 3 sets, 8 to 12 reps. And then on that 12th rep, say I can't do any clean ones, I'll start to do partials. And then I'll do partials until failure. And I'll repeat that for like a good 2 or 3 sets. sets, and that will complete my push day. And now getting into my pull day, it's really simple. I start off with an overhand or underhand barbell row. I typically use 135 pounds, and I keep my core in a really solid position, really focusing on stretching my back out first. Make sure I get a good stretch and then coming it back and controlling the weight. A lot of people think they have to go super heavy for back movements, but that's just not the case. I've talked about this before, but don't count the reps. Make the reps count, people. That is how you're going to generate the most muscle stimulation. So after that foundational movement is done on my pull day, I go into close grip chin-ups. And this is honestly a really good movement, not only for your back and stretching out your lats, because look at the stretch you can get if you're like this, but it's honestly a really good movement for overloading your biceps. And it's a little bit of a pre-fatigue because on my pull days, I do my bicep work as well. So after I do these chin-ups, I typically do 3 sets, 5 to 8 reps. If I need to do weighted, I will. But after that, I will go straight into a reverse dumbbell fly, kind of hitting the rear delts, kind of hitting the triceps. And this is where I'm just bent over again, using about 10-pound dumbbells, nothing crazy, and making sure I'm getting a good pump in the rear delts. But then at the end of these 3 movements, similar to chest movements, I have those 3 movements, and then I do my arm work. So I go into my bicep work. And typically my bicep work almost always starts with incline dumbbell curls. I find I just get the best pump. I find I don't need to use a heavy weight. I really focus on time under tension. And if I can't do any more reps, I will do actually partial reps at the top, say like 3 or 4 good ones, and then I'll do 1 slow negative. And that usually is about 3 sets of like 8 to 12 reps. And that fries my triceps with the chin-ups beforehand, and my biceps are on fire. Then it's just a matter of doing some hammer curls at the end of the movement on my pull day. I really like them. And the easy way I like to overload my hammer curls is do both reps or do both curls at the same time, right? Then when you can't do any more, you focus on one arm each time. And my bicep got a little sore there because I'm recovering. But you do 1 bicep each time, right? Really simple. You can really focus on the squeeze. And then when you can't do it anymore, you go back to doing both at the same time, but you cheat and you use the momentum because you're using both dumbbells at the same time. And this is a really easy way to overload your biceps, increase muscle stimulation, and get the best possible results. Okay, that kind of concludes the legs push-pull. And then in the second half of the week, I have my legs, shoulders, and triceps day, which is day 4. And then I have day 5, which is chest, back, and biceps. And mind you, while I'm talking all about this, on the days that I'm actually working out, I'm doing my 40 minutes of cardio. And the days I don't, I do my 50 minutes of cardio with my ab circuit. But getting into my day 4, legs, shoulders, and triceps, it's a bit of a modification of like all those days that I just talked about. So on my day 4, I go into Romanian barbell deadlifts again, and then I do my barbell back squats just like I did on my leg day, but now the legs are done. Now I focus on my shoulders. So with my shoulders, I will do seated dumbbell shoulder press overhead. Sometimes I'll do it standing. Again, 3 sets, 8 to 12 reps. And the way I like to overload it is as I'm getting close to failure and I know I can't get to the bottom position, I will do partials at the top, and then I can't do any more partials. I'll just do a slow negative on the way down to make sure that I get the best possible pump in my tricep. Look at that vein, look at that. Just to make sure I get the best possible pump inside my shoulders. And then when I'm done this exercise, I go into lateral raises. And I like to do my lateral raises relatively quick with short rest. I'm talking like 30 to 45 seconds. And this is where I really focus on the negative. And on this day specifically, I do a modification of my lateral raises. So I will go into typical lateral raises, right? But the last like 4 or 5 reps of the actual set, I will cheat it up, put it into a press, and then control the negative on the way down. And I'll try that for like another 3 solid reps to really squeeze out everything I can from that set. That will toast my deltoids for that day. And then with that day, obviously, again, I just have the triceps, and pretty much my bread and butter is rope overhead tricep extensions. I will go directly into that, 3 sets, 8 to 12 reps, really focusing stretch, really focusing on squeeze. If I find I'm not really feeling it, the pump's not that great, I'll go into single arm and make sure that I do get a good pump, make sure that I do get a good stretch, and I really feel it. Because if I go single arm and I can't get it up, I'll just use my other hand, get my arm up, and just work on negatives to make sure I'm getting a good pump at the end of the day for the triceps. So that's just the one movement out of that day 4 for my triceps. And then immediately after that, this is where I kind of get creative. So I'll go into a straight bar tricep cable extension, 3 sets, 8 to 12 reps, which I will superset with more tricep overhead work. And this is typically dumbbells, where I'm just focusing on the negative and pushing it back up. And I'm getting about like 8 quality reps here, give or take. The goal here is to completely burn out my triceps, right? And trying to improve week to week. Last week, if I did a lower weight, I'm gonna try to increase the weight slightly to make sure I'm overloading my triceps, make sure I'm stimulating muscle growth and getting results each week. So that kind of concludes the legs, shoulders, and triceps day. Next, I'll be talking about my favorite day, which is chest, back, and and biceps. So pretty much after I'm done my cardio, I go right into a dumbbell incline bench. I do 3 sets, 8 to 12 reps, really simple, and I really focus on the negative. I'm talking like a 4-second negative, and I really get in a deep stretch position, even angling the dumbbells a little bit inwards. Mike Israetel did a video about that. I don't know if you guys know who I'm talking about, but if you kind of like curl your wrist in, you can really get a nice stretch on something like an incline dumbbell. It feels really good. I would highly recommend it, especially if you got bad shoulders and you don't want to push the weight too high. This is one of the things where if you got shoulder issues, or if you're thinking that you just don't want to push weights too heavy because the chance of injury is higher, then focus on time under tension, focus on squeeze, and focus on full range of motion. These things will increase muscle stimulation without having you to increase the weight, obviously. So right after I'm done my dumbbell incline, I immediately go into a dumbbell row, chest supported. So I leave the incline on the same setting. I typically use the same amount of weight as I was pressing, and I again do 3 sets, 8 to 12 reps with this dumbbell row, and I find I get a really good back pump really quickly doing this row variation. And then when I'm done here, I do one more back movement, so it goes into a cable lat pullover. This is where I really try to stretch out my lats. I really come down, really try to squeeze, and this is more of an isolation movement for my lats, not a compound. I'm moving away from the chin-ups that I did earlier in the week and really trying to drive as much blood flow as I can into my lats. And these 2 movements will cover my back for this day 5. And then following these exercises, I just have a little bit more chest work. So typically how it goes, I'll either do dips or chest flies, dumbbell chest flies, and then I'll superset it with wide grip push-ups. And this is typically done in 2 or 3 set intervals. So for example, I'll go in, I'll do my dips, right? Say 5 to 8 reps, maybe if it's weighted or whatever. And then immediately after, I'll go into a superset of wide grip push-ups. And I'll do till failure, I'll do a burnout, and that will be 1 set. And I'll do that for an additional another set or 1 more, so for 3 total sets. And that will kind of conclude my chest pump on this day 5. And then I go into my biceps, which again is my fun time. Now on this day in particular, I will always start off as usual, incline dumbbell bicep curl, getting a good pump. But now I will kind of change up the flow, and either I will do an easy bar close grip curl or I'll do a concentration curl. And I'll tell you why I'm the big fan of both of these movements. The easy bar concentration curl allows you to pretty much dig in your elbows into your body, really create, again, my biceps are sore. I'm still sore from my last bicep workout, but really create enough stability where you can create a lot of tension on your biceps and really put it in a fixed position to really get a nice pump, especially after you did a dumbbell incline curl and your biceps are going to be toast. Then by the time you get to your 3rd bicep movement, you only have to do about another 2 hard sets to really put that icing on the cake and really get out of the gym and start recovering. Because once the damage is done, you want to get out, you want to rest, you want to recover, you want to make sure your muscles can get bigger. And the next time you're in the gym, you can push harder, right? So that's the goal here. Anyways, enough yapping with that. Once I've done the easy bar curls, I pretty much go into hammer curls. I go like 2 sets of failure, nothing crazy, nothing fancy. 2 sets, roughly 10 reps in that range, making sure I'm trying to push. If I can't push heavier, I'll make sure I'm doing like a slow and controlled negative. If I can't do that, I'll make sure I'm adding pauses. I will make sure somehow every single week I'm making the exercise harder. And that's the whole point of training week to week. You need to be increasing the intensity somehow, because that's how you're going to generate the most muscle growth. So that pretty much covers everything that I'm going to be doing during my weight loss journey here over these next 4 to 6 months, give or take, roughly losing about 20 pounds. I'm really excited to get back down to the leanness I was, and really excited to see what I look like at that low body weight. But pretty much I covered what my macronutrients look like currently. I'm going to navigate different life events, right? Having higher days, lower days of calories for training, what my training split actually looks like. And then actually what I will do is I will update you guys on the journey, how the weight loss has been going, and any changes I'm making to my split. And if you're someone looking to lose weight and you've been struggling with weight loss and you really want to make a change and you really want to see a physique difference, just DM me ready on Instagram and I'll see if I can help you out. I will catch you guys next time.